Hello, welcome back to the channel and another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. Tonight we're talking about a win, a 4-0 Tottenham Hotspur win against Copenhagen. We were better with 10 men as well, weren't we? Absolutely incredible, really. We're live on YouTube, X and Facebook as always. And as always, we've actually got three guests with me tonight. Gareth will be with us shortly. He's just dropped off. Must be bad internet in Ireland or something. Get down in the comments. Let us know how you're feeling as a Tottenham Hotspur fan and about that game tonight. Wow, what a game. Gareth's back with us. Let's just let Gareth back in before we do anything else. Right, let's show you some match facts and stats from tonight because this makes good reading. So, Tottenham Hotspur 4, Copenhagen 0, goals from Brennan Johnson, Wilson Odegaard, Mickey van der Ven and Jaap Halina. Brennan Johnson red card on 57 minutes. Sorry, my son's just come back in from football and he was putting his football boots away. Apologies if you heard a bit of noise in the background there. Match momentum, you can see there, Spurs pretty much dominant throughout the game. Copenhagen barely laid a glove on us, I would say. Match stats here, 61% possession to Tottenham, 38.8 to Copenhagen, 3.31 XG for Spurs. That's a bit of a difference, isn't it, to last weekend? 0.33 for Copenhagen, 14 shots for Spurs, 12 for Copenhagen, 6 on target for Tottenham, 4 for Copenhagen. 35 touches inside the box for Spurs, 23 for Copenhagen, 4 goalkeeper saves for Vicario, 2 for our opponents. 8 aerial duels, 1 for Spurs as opposed to 13. 10 fouls committed for Spurs, 11 for Copenhagen, and 3 corners for Tottenham and 6 for Copenhagen. Back with me as always, I've got 3 guests with me. I've got Ricky Norwood back with us. How are you, Rick?
I am very well, my friend. I'm absolutely buzzing. Good times, boys. Good times. We've had a win as well. I don't know whether you guys can hear that, but I can hear a little bit of feedback.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, it might be. Well. So, if people go on mute when they're not talking, that might be better. If you could, thank you, chaps.
Yeah, no, but yeah, bro, absolutely buzzing, Craig. Absolutely buzzing. It is the response that we needed, mate. It's the exact response that we needed after Chelsea, after not being able to not even throw a jab, but actually manage to punch in any direction towards Chelsea's direction. Mate, we needed that response tonight. Really good play in the first half, link-up play. We saw the Xavi Simons that we've been wanting to see. He's not at the finish article, but absolutely the flashes and the confidence and the turns and the assists, what was going on there. Do you know what I mean? Really good display from Brennan Johnson tonight, apart from his red card. But, you know, Mickey van der Ven with a Sonny-esque goal, mate. Yeah. What a goal that was. You know, and then Romero getting up front as well and providing an assist to Paulinho, who's another guy that is surprisingly becoming a goal scorer for us. But it was the attitude. It was the application. They came out tonight with, you know, fed up. And I think, you know, wanting to prove a point tonight. And you saw that from the kickoff. You saw that throughout the game tonight. And they continue to build on every single momentum that they had. Every time they done something good, they continue to press onto it. And look at that. We could have had 2 or 3 goals from Kolo Muani tonight as well as 2 chances that Richarlison had. But, you know, it is what it is. But, like, it was a good all-round performance. I am buzzing. Great response to the weekend. But now it's something to build on. Goodness gracious, look, I'm going on. That's how happy I am. It's got to be something to build on now for the weekend. So can't wait to get in with you beautiful gentlemen and all of you beautiful people around the world. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, do all of that jazz. Get involved. It's a Tottenham win and it's a Tottenham good day. Let's have it.
Love it, Rick. Gareth, how are you? Give us your thoughts on the game. Ricky's just give us his thoughts on the game because he's so excited because we've got a Spurs win. How are you, Gareth?
All good, Craig. Really, really good one, wasn't it? Feeling brilliant after that. You know, it was over at the Aston Villa game. I was at Newcastle away, and look, it wasn't good performances. And I'm going to the United game this week, and I always look forward to going to Spurs, but wasn't really. I was hanging on. I've not seen anything I've kind of been excited about to get me into the mood for United, but that was more like it tonight. 4-0 probably didn't tell the whole story. It could have been a lot more. I think on a different night, Maloney, his all-round play was good, but finishing let him down. He could have had 2 or 3. Richie could have had at least 2. With the 2 he hit the crossbar away, including the penalty. And Xavi Simons produced bits of magic on there, although he's still finding it difficult to have that consistency. He seems to do maybe one good thing and then he can follow it up. But like Odegaard, I think at tonight showed bright sparks, but just that consistency at times lets some of these players down. But look, there is little bits there from them. It was much more of a, what would be the word? It was much more of a combined performance, definitely going forward. I think there was a real aggression. There was a real progressiveness about the team from the first whistle. I thought Bentancur had his best game of the season on the ball. Basically, every time he got it, he wanted to play forward, didn't he? And he was playing those passes on the midfield. Romero always makes a difference when he's back for build-up as well. I mean, for the 4 goals and the performance, I think it'll probably go down as Mickey van de Ven's night. You think back to that Burnley game when Spurs beat Burnley 5-0. It was all about Son's goal. And it'll be all about Van de Ven's goal tonight. That'll be a contender for the Puskas Award. Incredible. It just reminded me so much of Gareth Bale at the San Siro when he picked the ball up and just ran past those Inter Milan players. This was obviously a lot deeper, a bit more like the Son goal. But the fact it was a European night under the lights, it was really, really special. And the fans at home this season haven't had a lot to cheer about. And yes, at 2-0, the game was very much in our hands. But that third goal and the way it went done, there's probably the loudest roar at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for quite some time. It was incredible, the reaction to that goal. And look, that is something to build on now. Huge game on Saturday going into this international break. And it's a big opportunity. United are in good form, but we know United are very much a bag of pick and mix. You don't know what you're going to get sometimes, so they are a beatable team, Craig. So let's just hope now that is the one that kickstarts the Thomas Frank era in a way, because we've been critical at times of him. But I mean, if that doesn't encourage Frank to be a bit more progressive, then I don't know what will, because the crowd was on the players' side tonight. The stadium was rocking, and you've seen the reaction, the confidence of the players when we started to get on the ball and play. So I think a very positive night, albeit against the Copenhagen team that are probably not going to do much in this competition. But you have to start more, and let's just hope that is the platform for more better performances this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. I mean, Copenhagen were pretty poor tonight, but if we can play like that every week, well, it shows we can play like that. Is if it's taken into the Premier League, isn't it? Gary, what are your thoughts on tonight's match?
Yeah, really positive. I did think we'd win. I know Copenhagen are nothing to be too worried about. It was obviously going to be a totally different game to Chelsea. I thought we'd be a lot more front foot and sort of go for it a bit more, especially after the Chelsea defeat and how bad we were. But for me, it was just crazy because I predicted 2-0. When we went down to 10 men, I thought, there we are, there's the 2-0. And it was almost like a light switch moment. We dropped to 10 men. And then, it was just that front foot, aggressive, attacking football that we know Tottenham can play, but we just haven't really seen this season. I mean, I think the only game this season, probably a little bit Man City away, where we kind of take the shackles off and go for it. But I just thought it was brilliant. I really did. Van de Ven, I was literally watching it and I was counting how many plays did he go past as opposed to how many Son went past. And then Gareth mentioned it with the Gareth Bale goal. So I'm trying to work out who was further back and who passed more players. But for me, that's got to win goal of the season. It was absolutely amazing. I know in the chat and a lot of people jumped on social media saying, play him up front. He's our top goal scorer, isn't he? I mean, it's mad, but it was a great game. Little bit disappointed at the end. Dane Scarlett's dad, I know, so I was messaging him, and I really hope he gets a goal. He comes on, he's stronger on the ball, aggressive. He wins the penalty, and I'm thinking, brilliant. He's got to take this penalty. It's his Champions League debut. I'm there back and forth with his old man. Richarlison steps up, hits the crossbar, and I think, that was just a little bit annoying at the end, but we won't take it away from a great win. But I think Dane Scarlett really earned that penalty and probably should have took it. And that's not being biased because, you know, I know him and his family. I just think he earned it, you know, especially on his Champions League debut. But apart from that, I can't really have any complaints. Look, I know, mate, he missed a couple of sitters, but the way he took that ball down and controlled it and got that goal set up, for me, I can't see Richarlison doing that. So for me, I was getting on his back a little bit in the first half, but he made up for it with that. You know, I just was gutted for him. He didn't get his goal, as I was Dane Scarlett. But I mean, I don't know who gets man of the match in that game. Is it Van der Ven? Is it Bentancur? Was it Simmons? Because Simmons, up until he got taken off, for me was man of the match. I mean, it's just nice to just see a game where we're a front foot attacking football, and it's so weird because you think the other side went down to 10 men. I generally we were like a different side. It was bizarre, you know. But very, very happy. You know, it's just nice to see a big win like that, mate. So roll on Saturday, where I'm sure we'll get a good result again. So yeah.
Well, let's hope so, because, you know, confidence breeds confidence, you would hope. But
yeah,
you know, if we can put in a performance, it was like the handbrake was off tonight. And again, as I agree with Gareth that, you know, Copenhagen weren't with the strongest opposition we're going to come up against, but you know, that shows we can play like that. And Bentancur, as you say, probably the best game he's played, in my opinion, this season. Just a really good to see. Ricky, coming around to you, let's have a look at the lineups. Actually, was anything about the lineup today you was surprised at?
I was just firstly pleased that Kolo was getting another start. You know, we knew that Kudus has got a bit of a knock, so Johnson was going to come in. And seeing Bentancur and Sarr in there as a midfield too is something that we've wanted to see for a long time. So it was good to see those things. And also good to see Udogie at left back. I mean, what a difference a left-sided left back makes. And Spencer's done tremendous. Of course he has, many a time. But it just gives us so much more balance and it gives us it widens the field as well, because he can take it on his left and because he can whip it in with his left as well. It just gives us more opportunities. Not only that, there was a lot of good play by Udogie as well. His runs, his overlapping runs, his runs inside. He was doing inverted runs, a bit like old school Ange at times, and he was making things happen. So it was good to see those players in there. It was good to see this mix. And you know, we're talking about like Mickey van der Ven's goal, right? And Gareth Bale and Sonny. The difference is that Mickey is a defender. Do you know what I mean? He's a defender. Like, it's, you know, crazy. Sonny and Gareth, they've you know, we knew that they've got the dribble, the run, they can take a shot from anywhere. We know that they've got that in that. Yes, both amazing goals. But Mickey, he's done it at Man United, kind of. But Mickey, from our own box to drive forward and just keep getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And in the strike, you know, when he done that, I was thinking pass. That's why I was shouting pass. But the strike was so ferocious, and he was like, hold on to that. And it was such a perfect time as well. So, you know, and with Kolo as well, I know what the boys are saying there, you know, yes, he should have finished a couple of those. Yes, he's coming back. He's still coming back, right? So we've started him. I think this is his second start, I think, maybe. So we're getting him up to speed. But the things that he was doing, some of the runs that he was making, some of the movements and the link-up play that he had with Xavi or any one of the midfield, that was looking very good. The way that he set up, who was it? Odobert. The way that he set up Odobert, pulled the ball out of the sky, controlled it, and then unselfishly kind of gave it to. There's some good moments there. So he's unlucky not to score tonight. Not just one, but like the boys have said, 2 and 3 goals he could have had tonight. So he has to feel that burn. And he has to want to go, all right, cool, I'm going to show you now. Because I felt that that's what the boys done tonight. They said, all right, and we're going to show you. This is what we wanted to see with this setup. Is not only defensive solidity, and structure and a game plan, but we needed to see us go for it, and we needed to see us attack as a unit. And with a new up front, which we've got, right? Yes, Odebear's been there, but how many times? How long has he been out for? You know, so how many minutes has he really got? How many games consecutively has he played? You know, he was our top goal scorer last year. He's been brought back in. All right, cool. He's got something to prove as well, because Kudus has got that position. Colo right now, it's almost like he is auditioning. So him missing tonight, those amount of chances, he's gonna have to feel the burn, because if he wants to not only find, you know, let's say he doesn't want to stay at Tottenham, but if he wants to find a good club, then he's gonna have to start banging them in. And if he wants to stay at Tottenham on this audition, he's gonna have to start banging them in. So I saw enough good things from him to kind of go, all right, cool. I like what I'm seeing here. But it was, yes, it almost like let off the chain, but it wasn't that. It was, I feel it was a fed upness. I feel it was them going, grabbing their cojones and going, you know what? Watch, we'll show you. We will show you. Because look at the one touch play today. It wasn't just, you know, through the phases and getting up there and then making an obvious pass that gets cut out. We was on it, direct passing, turn, first time passes, first time shots, little flicks, the over the shoulder things. You know, Xavi grew into the game. He even had a couple of like little tricks and back heels and the things that he were doing. You know, so he was growing, and I feel that if he would have stayed on the field, and this is what's unfortunate with Johnson's red card, not only did he mess up his own night, Johnson, in a sense, but he messed up Xavi's night as well, because we had to switch it up. But I feel that Xavi would have scored tonight. I feel, because, you know, he had already had the assist. He was growing in confidence, and he had a smile on his face tonight. It was an opportunity for him to show us what he was about, and he took that opportunity. Now it's the same for Colo as well, moving forward, to take that and kind of feel the frustration and go, no, you know what? I'm going to show you. But we needed to see this. We needed to see this, because Chelsea, it was almost like they was in their shadows. It was almost like they was in their shells. I think it was you, Craig, that put in a great video that it was Carragher's analysis on Tottenham on Sky Sports. You know, there was a lot of hiding there, and that's not what we need to see. It's the worst thing that you can see in a London derby, especially against Chelsea. So they had a lot to prove tonight. Thomas had a lot to prove tonight, and they went about it tremendously. And you look at that attitude, you look at that unity. Not only was it there when things were going well, but when everything should have hit the fan, which we do to ourselves in history, many a time in history, we will kick ourselves in the backside. But tonight we get that silly red card. We go down to 10 men. What happened to that attitude? We said, absolutely not, sir. Not today. And we kicked on again. And we went mental. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was free-flowing. It was what every Tottenham fan needed to see. So a great lineup tonight, bro. And it was a great opportunity for these players to come in and show us what they was about. And they done that. Really, really impressed with the response tonight.
Absolutely. Well, we had in the starting 11, I'll read it out for benefit of listeners on audio: Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi, Bentancur, Sarr in the middle, Johnson, Simmons and Odebear behind, Kolo Muani up front. Gareth, were you surprised that we were more or less not playing a double pivot? Although there was, in that graphic, there was two in the sort of CDM role. We looked good with just one holding midfielder, albeit Copenhagen are a weaker team, with all due respect. Do you think that we should be playing like that at home against Manchester United in that similar sort of formation?
Well, Craig, it's a great question, because I was just about to say that is going to be the question that Thomas Frank has to answer between now and Saturday, because yes, albeit it's Copenhagen, but the fans will look at tonight's performance and go, we've scored 4 goals. We've created 4 or 5 other big opportunities that we could have scored more goals. We still look pretty safe and secure at the back. And just thought overall, through midfield, everything was faster, quicker, more linked together. It was, and you were seeing players like Xavi Simons, almost playing with freedom. And we've seen, I think Xavi Simons has been disappointing so far. But I do think the way the team's been set up hasn't helped them. And I don't think it's just a Xavi Simons, but I think you put an Eze into that team, or you put a Morgan Gibbs White, I think they struggle as well because it's a very rigid system. And when you've got two midfielders behind the ball most of the time, it puts a lot of emphasis on that player in front. They, be in the right pocket, be in the left pocket, be in the centre, trying to link up the play. The biggest difference tonight, and Ricky pointed out with Udogie, the balance on the left side was good. I think Odebear and Udogie play quite good together. There's a lot of link-up play. It doesn't always come off, but the intentions are there. And I think that helps Xavi Simons when there is people around him so he can link up the play. At times he's picking the ball up and he's got no one near him, and he feels maybe he has to do something, and he ends up giving the ball. And I think that just soaks your confidence at times. Whereas I think there was things you were seeing from Xavi tonight that was almost instinctive, and we know he's got that quality because we've seen it at PSV, we've seen it at Leipzig, we've seen it for the Netherlands at international level. So I do think, whilst Xavi's not been good enough, the team selection hasn't helped, and the way we've been playing as a team has detriment. So that'll be the big question, and it's a massive team selection conundrum for Thomas Frank on Saturday, because if he goes back to Polini and Bentancur and it's another performance similar to Chelsea and similar to Aston Villa, and we lose the game or don't win the game, everyone's going to forget about tonight. Nobody will forget about Van de Ven's goal, but they'll forget the fact we won 4-0, and it looked like a changing of the guard in terms of the tactics and the approach to the game. Personally, I think he would be putting himself under massive pressure going back to that double pivot now after what's happened. I think if you go back to a double pivot against Arsenal and PSG, I think you can understand that away from home against two of the best teams. I think there is a time and a place for it. And, we're not going to sit here and say we can beat Arsenal and PSG playing toe-to-toe football. We probably can't at this moment. We have to respect the opposition. But I think at home against Man United, we've got to be on the front foot. This is a Man United team up until 4 weeks ago where the manager was asked all sorts of questions under massive pressure, hadn't won 2 games in a row in the year he was there. So, we shouldn't let the last 4 games kid us about Man United. They're still very much a beatable team. And I think we beat them in the Europa League final. We had a lot of players missing. We're going to have a lot of players missing on Saturday, of course. But we've beat this Man United team quite convincingly over the last year, a fair few times. So I don't think we should be going into this game with any fear. I think we should be, and Craig, you'll know this as well, and so will Ricky and Gareth from being at the games. The lineup is very important for the atmosphere at the stadium. If people get on their phones at 11:15 and they see Polini and Bentancur, it's going to kill optimism going into the game. And we already know the game's at 12:30, so the atmosphere mightn't be as good as it would be for under the lights. So we need to be very, very smart how we approach the game. I think if we see a midfield 3 where there's only one number 6, say, and we've got attacking players like Sarr and Xavi Simons and Odebear, and if Kudos is back, hopefully, and you've got Maloney, I think that gives everyone a positive feeling going into the match. So I think it would be absolutely crazy to go back to the double pivot, because has it really worked? It hasn't worked at home. So if you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same results, as they say. So I think we have to change it up. And for me, it's a huge game for Thomas Frank's Tottenham career. I think if he goes back, it's going to create more negativity and put a lot of pressure on winning the game. And what the Spurs fans want to see, Craig, and we've spoken about this a lot, we're not expecting to win every single game, every single week. It's a new manager. It's a young team. We're not expecting to win every week, but we do expect a level of performance, and we do expect a bit of excitement when we play at home. I mean, they read out the ticket prices tonight. Of course, season ticket holders didn't qualify for their ticket tonight. £60 to watch that game was the cheapest ticket tonight they read out on TNT Sports. So it's expensive to go and watch the team. And I think we are entitled to be entertained in some sort of capacity. And on Saturday, it was just absolutely so far below the belt. They have absolutely nothing really they talk about after the match in terms of attacking opportunities against a Chelsea team who we know were inconsistent. So it's got to be different on Saturday, Craig. And I think if we can get a win playing positive football, it'll set us up nicely in terms of going into the international break. We have a bit of positivity and a bit of do you know what? Maybe the manager is starting to learn what it's like to be the Tottenham manager. Because at Tottenham, you do have to be entertaining. And look, we've seen this with Ange Postecoglou. Craig, even if you're playing attacking football sometimes and you don't get the results, the fans will stick with you. And I think Thomas Frank's doing himself no favours by persisting with a double pivot and persisting with a defensive football. So let's just hope tonight was a massive turning point. And when we see our phones at 11:15 on Saturday, we're happy with the team selection.
Yeah, let's hope so. Well, it's just proved, as we keep saying with respect to Copenhagen, they're weaker opposition than we're going to face in the Premier League, but proves we can play like that. Gary, Gareth mentioned there Mohamed Kudus. It shows how well we played offensively tonight, because Kudus' name was rarely mentioned, if at all, in the commentary, and really actually didn't enter my mind that we're missing him tonight. So we must have done something right tonight.
It's funny you say that, Craig, because literally while Gareth was talking there, I was thinking to myself, I thought, we were talking earlier in the week, obviously all of us on the WhatsApp, and we were saying, name a player that gets you off your feet. And I think most of us said Kudos. I think I said Kudos and Van der Ven and no one else. But one, I didn't even think about Kudos tonight. And two, a lot of players got me off my feet tonight, a lot of players. And don't get me wrong, I know it's only Copenhagen. I get that. But I do feel the way that we set up, and especially when we went down to, that's the thing for me, when we went down to 10 men, we could have kind of sat back, protected the 2-0 lead, just seen the game out, and it would have been a safe 2-0, But we didn't, and that's what I liked about it, Shabby Simmons, I think Ricky mentioned it, he was smiling, his confidence. I mean, if those two goals go in, he's got, 3 assists in that game, and he was brilliant. He was brilliant. And I do think we will carry it on Saturday. I think you have to remember, in regards to Chelsea, as much as it will pain people, it doesn't matter what team we have, what players we have, or what manager we have, we never turn up against Chelsea. It's just fact. And I know Tottenham fans don't like that, and they don't want to accept that, but we don't. Before that whistle's blown, we've lost. The same way, it's like almost, they called it 3-point lane. It's like that when we got the Etihad. Some things you just can't explain, and unfortunately, that is it. So I get people's, apprehension in regards to Saturday and Man United. And I know Man United have gone 4 games without losing, but you mark my words, on Saturday, we win, and we win comfortably. And we'll bring it on from the Copenhagen game. And we've done Man United 4 times last season, and we'll do them again this season. I have no qualms with that. But, it's very difficult with Tottenham, Craig, because, you look at them one week when they go away to Everton, right? We win 3-0. No one's won at that ground. You come to the Copenhagen game, then you see the Chelsea game. You see us when we go to the Etihad. It's you just don't know what Tottenham you're going to get. It is frustrating, but some things you can always count on is 1, us losing to Chelsea, and 2, us beating Man United. And both those things are going to happen. They will. But going back to tonight, it's just nice to be able to just watch a game, smile and relax. And even when we went down to 10 men, I didn't really think we were going to concede. I did think in my mind, we might just sit back and hold on to 2-0, but there was no worry. And that's nice, especially after, the game of the weekend, because that was a horrible watch, right? We know that. And you touch about prices, Gareth. That's the sole reason I didn't go, or Craig, I'm not sure I mentioned it, but I think the cheapest ticket for Chelsea was like 85 quid. And I'm not going to pay that to go to a game that I know we're going to lose. And people might call me negative and stuff, but, I've been a Tottenham fan long enough to know what Spurs are like when they play Chelsea. The same way I know what we're going to be like on Saturday when we play Man United. Whether it's an early kickoff or not, whether Kudus comes back into the team or doesn't, we're beating Man United. It's just a fact. Some things you just have to accept. But is it all rosy, at Tottenham? No, it's not. Far from it. But, there's a lot of people in the comments saying it's only Copenhagen and everything else. But listen, if you're going to be stressed out and angry and upset like we all were after Chelsea, you have to be happy, and enjoy it when we win games like tonight. Yeah. You have to be. Yeah. Because what's the point otherwise? You know what I mean?
That's football. That's football. And like you say, you've been a Spurs fan long enough. You're 37 now, Gary. So
exactly.
37. I've just got to show you something quickly. I love this from Mickey van der Ven.
Go on.
I started dribbling and I thought I would see if they would catch up, and they didn't. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Well, they're not going to catch you, Mickey. You're like,
got to get goal of the season, hasn't it? Has to.
It's good that Puskas. When you compare it, alongside Son's goal, he actually started a little bit further back, even on the edge of the box.
He was a bit further back, right?
It was, yeah, but we'll come on to the goal later on.
Yeah,
so,
I just want to find out, because I don't know. I'm going to obviously, there's going to be loads of memes from Tottenham, right? We have Van der Ven on the top, but Son underneath. You know them ones are coming in it when they run. And I want to see who passes more players. I'm thinking Van der Ven was further back and ran faster, but Son passed more players. But I can't be certain.
I agree.
Yeah,
with you.
could well be.
That's the feeling I got.
Well, Thomas Frank said to TNT Sport, he said it was like Lionel Messi transformed into a centre back. Was what he said. So that's incredible, isn't it? It really is. Right, Ricky, let's come around to you. Let's get into the match incidents. 6 minutes. Simmons' deflected shot goes wide. Well, that was good for a start. That Javi Simmons actually he showed a bit more bravery tonight from the off. He had a shot. Just deflected wide for a corner, but you could kind of see from me. I thought, well, this looks different. This feels different tonight. Javi was more like the player we know he can be. 7 minute great ball from Odegaard through to Johnson, but come to nothing. And then on 19 minutes, we got our first goal. Brennan Johnson, talk us through this goal, Ricky, because it was a lovely pass through to him for starters, wasn't it?
It was a beautiful move, mate. It was a beautiful pass through. The ball comes into Xavi, and Xavi sees he's already scanned before he picks up the ball, but he's seen that Johnson's peeled off on the defender's last shoulder, and he takes one touch, and the second touch is through. And it's it's something that we criticize him about a little bit when he's been playing. Sometimes the pass is overhit or it's underhit. This was absolutely perfect. It almost like a goal shot curled back into Johnson's path. And if for Johnson to have the composure to not shoot straight away, but to take it round, you saw how quickly the goalkeeper was rushing out. So he's taking it around him, and then he's passed it in. He hasn't lashed it. It's a very tight angle that he's put it in. Yeah. But yeah, he's passed it into that net and right into the corner, mate. And it was a perfect goal. And it was a great way to build on those moments that we was having up until that point. So to score at that time was fantastic. But you mentioned Odegaard there. I feel Odegaard had a great night tonight as well. Yeah, I felt that he found his feet, and you can see what danger he possesses. He does have rapid pace. He does have trickery in the locker. He does have 2 good feet. And, we've seen in the under-21s more than at Tottenham, but he can score, and he scored tonight. So with more games and more confidence, maybe this is the start of seeing what Odegaard can bring to the first 11 and to the team. A lot of people were calling for, an Aaron Lennon type player. Maybe he's that, but on the left-hand side. Let's see. Really good performance, though, tonight. Not just what he done with the ball, but some of his runs off the ball and some of the runs that he was making in behind. Fantastic. And the way that he just confused their defense. And one more thing as well is like with those, I don't read the comments because you lot know I like to rant, and if I see comments, then it'll distract me, right? It distracts you, mate. You're ADHD. Yeah, it'll distract me. But you guys know that already. You guys know that. And I keep hearing this. Yes, it's only Copenhagen. Yes, Copenhagen have been in a poor position. They've been in poor form. They're not doing very well in the Champions League right now. But we was in one of those moments, Tottenham fans, and the club itself and the players themselves. We was in one of those moments that if it went the way that people were feeling, it was going to continue like on the back end of Chelsea, then we could have easily scored 2 own goals, had 3 players sent off, and kicked ourselves right in the backside and kind of given it to them, because it's not like they came to fall over. They did give it a go. They were trying. They did have some kind of grit about them. So it might just be inverted commas Copenhagen, but it's more about us right now. It's more about us. because tonight's performance was about our performance. We didn't worry about them in that sense. We had a lot to say and a lot to prove and a lot to put right after the weekend and after Monaco and after Bodo Glimt. Do you know what I mean? We've had some shocking performances in this competition. We cry, we beg, we plead, we fight to get into this competition. And when we get here, I can't stand it if we don't turn up at all. You know what I mean? But tonight, they had to put that right, especially after Chelsea, because that can't become a trait. That can't become a trend, that type of performance. Monaco can't become a trend and a type. You know, so tonight, to be putting it right in the way that we did, that's why I'm happy. That's why I'm excited. That's why I'm buzzing. 4 goals tonight, 10 men. We could have had another 2, but
God, at least.
At least I'm just talking about Richarlison. Penalty on the plate. I know we'll get there, but like, you know, they were on the plate. But another example of that catalogue that Richarlison is building up of chances when put on the plate that I don't feel like he's going to score. Craig, I didn't feel like he was going to score the header. I didn't feel like he was going to score the penalty, mate.
Nah,
same here. I didn't feel it in my stomach, bruv.
Yeah.
And that's why, Gary, we're all moving on. We're all pressing skip on him missing the penalty because we're just like, it's Richarlison, it's fine. Skip. We don't need to talk about that. So we had a great performance tonight. Could have, should have been more. Yeah. And that was more important, not just for us to see it as fans, but for them, the players, to know that they can do that. So now let's start being dynamic. Let's, play either Bentancur or Perlinia in alongside Sarr against Man United. Let's continue that one-touch play. Let's continue that bravery. Continue Xavi kind of getting more confidence. Continue the good things that we've done. Build on them, and let's play into our strengths. Let's go into it. And that's why I want like Kolo to be playing against Man United as well, because he would have been fuming and frustrated tonight that he didn't put at least one of those away.
Yeah, his goal's coming.
It's coming, mate. There was one way it came across the box. I know. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead, but he just missed it. I think Xavi put it on a plate for him, and he hit the water bottle. And you're just kind of going, so he's gonna feel that. So we need to see these good things that we've built on tonight. And push forward, not just discount our performances because it's Copenhagen. You know what I mean? We go and beat Man United 3-4-0 on the weekend, and it'd be like, yeah, but it's just Man United. They're a basket case. No, you've got to take credit and you've got to take joy in the good times, because we know as Tottenham fans, there's always a bumpy road ahead, you know?
Yeah. That's right. And Man U have got a very good front line, to be honest with you. I know Sesko hasn't hit the heights just yet, but Cunha and Bumo, and you
Massive.
talking about we've got to celebrate the wins. Juju 10-4, 5-2. You guys are buzzing because Spurs beat some Farmers. Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Why
buzzing
not, mate?
Yeah, it's a win.
Why not? What you've got to celebrate a win. Gareth, just coming round to you. On 40 minutes, I think this was the moment that you were talking about, Rick. Actually, great move, interchange between Odebeer and Xavi, who slips through Muani, who shoots wide, hits the water bottle, just misses the left-hand post. What did you make of Kolo Muani this evening?
I think it was a strong performance. The only thing was missing was the finishing. I thought his all-round play was really, really good. His movement was good. Interestingly, the lads talked about the Odebeer goal where he plucked it out of the sky. He plucked one out of the sky in the first half too. His first touch is quite good. And that's my dad was actually saying to me, unbelievable. He can pluck the ball out of the sky, but he just can't seem to put the ball in the net. But we know he's a goal scorer. He's got form. I know at Juventus last season for scoring a lot of goals. So I think it's just getting that first one on. And I think because he's been injured, he's building up his match fitness, isn't he? And his sharpness. And I think a few weeks down the line, he probably takes that chance you mentioned, Craig, first time. And he doesn't take that extra. I think that's natural when you're maybe not at the races, or you're just itching to get that first goal. You're almost trying to hit the perfect shot. And if you actually look at it where he hits the water, the chance had really gone. There was no way he was going to find that corner by the time he got himself set. So I think if he had it back, he would take it he would take it first time, and he might have scored. But look, I think if we get more performances like that, the goals will come. But we know now the job of a number 9 or a forward is much more about not than just scoring goals. It's about linking up play, winning the ball, high up the pitch, winning your duels. And I thought he did that quite well tonight. So, that goal hopefully isn't too far away, and I think the lads are right. I think he stays in the team for Saturday, and let's hope it comes on Saturday. But I thought it was a very strong performance. I think it's hard to point out anyone tonight, Craig, that didn't perform well. I mean, I think we're the boys were chatting there about who their player of the match might have been. For me, it was Bentoncourt. I think he was the best player on the pitch by a million miles. Very good on the ball, very good at winning the ball back, very good at being in the right position, sustaining attacks. And, for a player we know, as we all watched Jamie Carragher's piece on Monday Night Football last night, Craig, and we've all seen Bentoncourt as a player that likes to play forward and likes to get on the ball. So, that's what was frustrating about watching the analysis on Monday Night Football was it seemed very much a tactical ploy for the team not to play forward. Polina, we know, is very much about stopping counterattacks, winning the ball, being an enforcer. But I think with Bentoncourt, there is a bit more of a progressive player in there. So it was good to see that being back in there tonight, and we know he's capable of it. And if you look at Porro had a great game. Doggy, the boys spoke about, was excellent. And if you look at some of our better performances this season, Craig, Doggy's been in the team. And I don't think that's a coincidence. The Brighton game away from home, although we were 3-0 down, we created quite a lot of opportunities in that game, and he played in that game. So I do think there's a lot more to come when we've got that settled back four of Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, and Doggy. But it's just very difficult a month, it seems to be, for whatever managers at Tottenham to keep their best players fit. There seems to be a massive issue there. Players are dropping like flies there. I mean, I think it was a bit of a tactical ploy from Vicario, but I think we were all panicking when he was down touching his hamstring, thinking, oh my God.
That was clever. That was clever. Yeah.
Vicario. And look, for how critical we all were of Vicario at the start, the last 5 or 6 games, he just looks a completely different goalkeeper. He's catching crosses. He's not fumbling any shots. All of a sudden, he looks better on the ball. So he's been a revelation in the last few weeks. And I think if you get that settled back four, it's all about them building the best midfield and attack we can find within the squad at the minute, because that's where the problems seem to lie. But it definitely does help when Romero and Udoggy's in the team, because we do generally look a better team getting the ball out of the back and getting on the midfield, and that'll only help the likes of Xavi Simons and the likes of Ruber and Kudos. And if you look at the last couple of weeks, Craig, Kudos has been suffering because of how the team's been playing and the lack of service he's had. So for us to get the best out of our attacking players, we need to be better on the ball. We need to be better at the back end. Hopefully tonight was a great step forward. But look, Miani, definitely at the minute, until Solanke comes back, I think that position has to lose. Yeah,
I agree. And I'm glad you mentioned Porro there, Gareth, because I thought Porro just swung in some very good crosses as well today. Defensively good. Obviously not one of his toughest games he's going to have, but I thought Porro was pretty good today. And Vicario as well didn't have tons to do.
He plucked one out of the sky as well. It was a bit of a trademark tonight. There was one with the ball went down behind him.
In the first
seemed
half,
to be everybody.
Yeah.
One of those nights where all the first touches were good, and don't know what was on the air tonight, but there was so much showboating and stuff. So it just seemed like the goals brought a real swagger to it, and that's what we want to see. We can all tick not winning every week, but if we see that swagger and that confidence, it's something to get behind for the next game.
It is, and you said about a bit of swagger. Xavi Simons in the first half, I don't think we'd even scored at this point. He's had a lot of stick and people giving him a bit of grief, but he was still just trying. It was in the right area as well. He was just doing a little sort of back flick. He sort of played it behind him. It was just a little thing, but it shows the kid's got confidence. And once he gets that confidence and once he's starting to play well, we'll be really positive about tonight. Hopefully he can start clicking, because we need him in that number 10 role 100%. But coming back to Vicario, didn't have tons to do tonight, but the camera panned to him a couple of times and he was shouting, he was organising, he was ready if he was needed. And as you say, I thought Vicario took the ball out of the air quite a few times tonight, looked confident, gives the defenders confidence. Yeah, absolutely. And gives the defenders confidence who they've got behind him, which so it was, you're right.
The only positive at the moment as well, if we can get 3 points and a decent performance on Saturday, we've got 2 weeks to try and get some of these players back for this tough period coming up, because you looked at the squad tonight and the bench, we were really thin. And with Johnson getting suspended for the next game against PSG in the Champions League, if we haven't got players back, we know Tell's ineligible, and we divides opinion, but that's another player that'll be unavailable in that game. So that's the only maybe positive about, we all dread the international breaks at times, but it may give us 2 weeks to get players back, and let's try and get that one and go on with a bit of positivity to that break. And hopefully against Arsenal, we're starting to see, I've heard that Solanke's been targeted for that game. Hopefully Kudus is back this weekend, but if not, hopefully back for Arsenal. And we can start to see this, a bit more strength and depth coming on. And we know Kulusevski hopefully won't be too far away as well in December.
Yeah, absolutely. Players to come back, and creative players at that definitely could be a good second half of the season. Let's fingers crossed we can keep players fit as well. So, because we've been losing players, or we get players back and then somebody else gets injured. Let's hope that's not a common thing. Gary, 45th minute, last action of the first half. Lovely turn from Javi Simmons again, who puts it on a plate from Muani, who heads over. We've kind of covered Muani. I'm sure the goals will come, and when he gets one, they're like buses. When you get goals, you get your first one. It don't matter how it goes in, off your backside, whatever. I'm sure once he gets one, he'll get two or three. There's one player that we haven't discussed, actually, I think from the starting lineup, and that's Pat Matasar. What did you make of Pat Matasar tonight, Gary?
Yeah, good. I thought he was good. He looked confident on the ball, good passes, won a lot of his tackles. I think Sarr is that type of player. He could come straight in. You're not worried or, apprehensive over Sarr, thought he had a good game. And I know Gareth touched on Bentancur for man of the match. He was up there for me. I do think, though, if Johnson don't get that red and Simmons stays on that pitch, he's got to get man of the match, And obviously those two goals he put on a plate for the other guy, if they go in, even with him being taken off, he still might get man of the match, because he was different gravy tonight. But Bentancur, Joe, the other one you mentioned, and I wanted to say that, is Porro. I mean, he's not great in defence, getting back and stuff like that. But my word, can he cross the ball? I mean, he's good. He put in some brilliant crosses tonight. And I know it's Copenhagen and there's a lot more space and you've got a bit more time on the ball and that, but you still have to pinpoint those crosses. And he's good, man. I looked at that team tonight and I think to myself, it wasn't a bad display. And Ricky mentioned it. Look, yeah, it's only Copenhagen and all the rest of it, but listen, it's only Tottenham. We're coming off the back of the worst home record out of every club there. Copenhagen were probably thinking, this is Tottenham, this will be easy. So you got to turn up and you got to get the job done. And people might say, it's only a farmer team and this and the other. But listen, we actually played better and looked more threatening. And I mean, when we went down to 10 men, I still can't. I'm going to watch this after the show again, because for me, we picked up the pace and we found more room and more space and had more chances. It was absolutely mental. But I was really pleased with Sarr, as I was Bentancur. I was a little bit gutted for Simmons and I was a bit gutted for Dane Scarlett. But overall, brilliant. What I will mention as well, it's just nice to hear the commentary with Joe Hart and not Alan Smith. That was nice.
He was good. He was good at Joe Hart, actually.
He was good, and he's not biased, and he just says it how it is. And I thought he was very good with his stuff about Vicario and also outfield players. When Dane Scarlett came on, he said it how it was with him. He said it about Richarlison. I thought he was very good. I don't think his commentary is there, just for the reactions. I think he's really, really good. And listen, some ex-footballers, they go onto TNT or Sky and they just, it doesn't work, You get some people that can't act, and then you get people like Ricky Norwood. It just is what it is. And he's just a natural, isn't he, Ricky? You know what I mean? He's a natural Joe Hart. He's brilliant.
Absolutely. Well, second half, Gary, let's stay with you for the Odegaard goal. Second half, 51 minutes. Odegaard, Kalumawani shuts down the keeper, and the ball flies up in the air. Absolutely class touch by Kalumawani to bring it down, calmly squares it to Odegaard, who fires in. Talk us through this goal.
Yeah, look, when I saw that run and ping up in the air, I have to be honest with you, I didn't think he was going to be able to just get that ball, kill it dead, control it, And then when he did, probably like all of us, I was just thinking, score. I was trying to see an angle for him to score. But, although he didn't have the angle, he looked up, he picked his pass, kept his cool, and lovely finish. But for me, I just wish he could have got that goal there, But I think it does make up for the 2 misses in the first half. And I said that in real time, because that wasn't an easy ball to control like he did, get that down and then look up and pick that pass out. I think, no. And that's the sort of things you want to see, when a player misses a couple, I would say in some ways the second chance is probably easier than the first, but really they both got to be on target. But his head didn't drop, he's gone for that ball, he's got the ricochet, he's killed the ball down, he's looked up, he's pinned in a lovely pass across, just lovely weighted pass, and set up perfectly, So very, very pleased with him for that. I know he'll be kicking himself and he'll be annoyed that he didn't get a goal tonight. But I think, this will push him on for Saturday, where I think he starts and he'll take confidence from that, because I don't think it was easy. I don't want to pick players out, but I said to my boy when it happened, I said, if Richarlison I think we both said, if Richarlison gets that ball, it probably goes out for a goal kick and he falls over. So, I think he done really, really well there. So I was pleased. I was very,
Thing is, though, Gary, I'm just looking at that. Really, the first 2 goals were serious goalkeeping errors, weren't they?
Oh,
but
massively,
you capitalised on them, didn't you?
In no man's land on both. But what I would say, even on the first one, like with Johnson, it was a very tight angle. You've still got to get that ball in. On that second one, with that ricochet, you still have to have, a fairly good level of ability to be able to just kill that ball dead, control it, bring it down, look up, and pick a weighted pass. It's very easy in that situation to panic and hit it in the side net, and he wasn't greedy and he didn't panic. He took his time. And I say fair play to him for that. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, quickly after that, after we the highlights of the second goal, we was all
everyone
down
was
to earth.
the bin bit, didn't they?
A little bit, yeah. Well, I don't know who. I'm sure you're all going to want to say that, but let's come on to something a little bit less happy. Ricky, come round to you on this one. Brendan Johnson sent off for Tottenham. Strong, unfair contact with opponent's left ankle. Was this a red card for you?
It wasn't malicious, Craig, but it was stupid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was unnecessary. It was a little bit of frustration, maybe like creeping in, especially in that second half. It was the start of the second half, and it took a minute. It was very bitty. The beginning, the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, it was very bitty. So I'm gonna just guess that it was a bit of frustration. He's gone to try and get the ball, but then he's realised he's not gonna get it. You can see he's half tried to pull out, but then he can't because he's already out. So and then it's just you could see it on his face as soon as the ref went to go and check it.
He knew.
Yeah, he knew because
we all knew.
we did. And do you know what? I tell you what, me and I'm sure a lot of fans like around the world, at that point you're going, okay, here we go. It is where the turn. Is where the turn. Do you know what I mean? It is where we end up and then, like you said earlier, I think it was Gareth that said earlier that then Vicario's gone down and played with the hammy, and you're like, oh, here we go, here we go. I didn't spot that it was theatrics. I was fully invested, and I was like, oh, this is going to be the moment. But what was amazing about that was, okay, Johnson, naughty boy, went off the field, but again, it was the response, Craig. Gents, people around the world, it was the response. Who looked like the side that had 10 men? I saw Copenhagen. It was Copenhagen. They got too overconfident. They went, all right, and cool, we're going to push these lot forward. We're going to do this, and we're going to try and overload them in the box. And they left themselves short. And, we just exploded on them. And at the same time, we were relentless. We were like, no, we're not going to go down or out like that. It was like, no. And that's what I'm talking about, the response. People would talk about Copenhagen. It's the response from Chelsea to start that game, the response in the second half to something kicking us in our backside, where majority of the time that would begin the juju and the hoodoo over us, where we start losing our heads and, tackles start going crazy, and then it becomes a 2-2 game, It was the response. We said absolutely not. So, all right, Johnson. Yes, technically red card. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't out there to break an ankle or anything like that. It was just silly, stupid. It was a bit like back in the day when you used to see Paul Scholes going for a challenge. You just go, Paul, don't do it.
I think you're right saying that, but I do think if that's a Premier League game, the ref doesn't get told to go to the screen, you know.
Probably, you're probably right.
I think maybe that just stays as a yellow. Because there was a couple of tackles like that in Chelsea. Yeah, the Chelsea game, there could have been a couple of reds, but they stayed as a yellow, and they weren't far off that type of tackle. Do you know what I mean? But I think the leeway in Europe is a lot less. It is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's right. Well, thanks to Jay Macaulay for the super chat. Van der Ven, second Spurs player to win the Puskas Award. That would be good, wouldn't it? That would be.
Come on,
he's got to.
He's got to happen. It's got to happen, isn't it?
It has to.
And there was another comment here from Tony Bell. He said, "What a game today! I'm from the United States, and I'm going to my first ever Spurs match against Fulham. Would love to meet up with Chris and Ricky Coys."
Come on, mate.
I'm sure if Chris and Ricky are around, they'd be happy to have a drink with you, Tony. And welcome to London, welcome to Tottenham. Let's hope we can win for you in your first out into the Spurs stadium. 60 minutes, as we said, Paulinho on for Javi. Javi sacrificed essentially, and he looked a bit gutted to come off, but I think he'd staked his claim to be the player we all know he can be, and hopefully he will push on now. Gareth, you've got the honour of talking us through the Mickey van der Ven goal, and of course I'll come to you two other lads because I'm sure you want to say something about it.
Yeah,
but
because we know
there is so many
45 minutes.
Yeah, I want to get to bed tonight. It was good, but come on. Look, usually I put 3 photos on of goals. This one has got 6 or 7 because I had to start right on the edge of our box, which is where Mickey van der Ven picked up the ball. Gareth, talk us through this goal. How good was it to see Mickey van der Ven in full flight?
Yeah, I was going to say, cheers, Tony. Thanks for the invite. Me, Craig, and Gary aren't welcome at this meetup. Thanks very much. But no, unbelievable, Craig. I mean, what I would say is, right, once he gets past this first initial couple of players here, I just think it becomes unstoppable because you're watching somebody in full flight. Once he gets past that first bit on the edge of the box, I just don't think there's much Copenhagen can do to stop this, because we've seen him do this against Everton when he set up Son. We've seen him do this against Man United when he crossed the ball in for Johnson. And the difference this time is he's gone all the way and scored. But I mean, they are like running and treacle here. They just have no chance of stopping him. And if you actually look at the last defender, he actually runs back towards the line. He's give up. He's give up. I'm not going to get across to stop him, but can I maybe get back on the line and try and stop him from scoring? It was absolutely unbelievable. And you look at the Spurs players can't even keep up. This is just like watching.
It's incredible, isn't it?
You see
this one, Gareth. Look at this. Just sorry to butt in there. Look, he's there. He's gone past or in between those 2 players, right? The next image. Look how far. Look how much ground he's gained on him, and he's dribbling the ball. He's running with the ball. Look. He's got 5 yards. He's gone straight through them. From there. Sorry about listeners on audio. You're not going to be able to see this. We're just showing Mickey van der Ven's goal. You're going to have to use your imagination. But he went through 2 players, past the third and a fourth, and he's now 5 yards ahead. It's incredible, isn't it?
It is incredible. And I mean, we talk about the great goals scored in the history of football, but there is something special about what he's done there. Because as you pointed out, he's running with the ball. We're 60 minutes in the game at the professional level in the Champions League, so he's not, he's going to be not tired, but he's played 60 minutes of top level football. And find that energy and define the speed, define the control. But he did sense when he got into this position here, there was a chance he could score, because we know he's a good striker of a football. We've seen him score some good goals with his feet. I know he scored some goals with his head this season. He scored against West Ham with his feet. I remember a goal against Burnley where he kind of wriggled on the edge of the box and slotted it on the corner. In his first season here, it was towards the end of the season, if you remember. It was quite lit on. They won the game. So we know he's got very good feet as well. And I mean, it's not an easy finish. I mean, the goalkeeper doesn't leave him a massive angle there at the near post, and I just think he had it in his head. There was nothing going to stop him from scoring this goal. I mean, it's going to take some goal to beat this.
Gaz a free kick.
Yeah.
Don't leave that one out, Gareth.
The free kick. Yeah, the Gaza free kick, the Danny Rose volley against
Arsenal.
That's
it.
It's up there with that level, to be remembered for generations by Spurs fans.
Yeah.
And it's always great. We talk about the Lamelas Rabona goal. I know he scored 2, but the one against Arsenal was unfortunate. We lost that game, but we've actually won this game.
Yeah,
it'll be even more remembered as a big goal. And where does this rank? And I'd love to know in the comments from some of the fans, where would you rank this as your all-time Tottenham goals? We've probably got loads of different age groups on watching this podcast tonight.
Yeah.
Where would this rank as Tottenham's greatest ever goal? It's up there. It's a contender.
Got to be in the top 5 for most.
It probably is along. For me, the one that sticks in my mind of recent goals is, apart from Gaz's free kick, is Bale's strike against West Ham to win it 3-2 under Villas-Boas.
Yeah.
But Gary, just come round to you on this. You're in this position, right? Would you square it to Kolo Muani? I think that's Kolo Muani.
Listen, I mean, I can lift a lot. I'm quite strong, but I'm nowhere fast. So there's no way I'm going to be there, mate. I'm still at the halfway line. But I'll be honest with you, when I was watching it, stupid me was shouting, pass it, pass it. And then little do I know, it's our top goal scorer running from literally our goal to the other end. But, I mean, honestly, all jokes aside, it's absolutely bonkers. I mean, I'm sure everyone thought the Son goal, right? And then obviously remembering Gareth Bale down the sideline, length of the pitch. But for me, this goal is better than both of them. It's just absolutely amazing. And it's not just the pace and the strength of the ball, but like what Ricky touched, Son, listen, absolutely amazing goal against Burnley, right? But a lot closer to the keeper, a lot easier. After he's run that length of the pitch, and let's bear in mind, he's not a forward like Son, right? After he's run that length of the pitch, he still has to smash that ball at that pace, place it, and get that under the keeper's arms. The easy option would have been to pass that and square it right. But Van der Ven don't do easy option. So, listen, if that does not win goal of the season, I'm saying it now, that is winning goal of the season. It can't not. I don't care what other goals are scored. Nothing, because you have to take into account it's in a Champions League game, and where Van der Ven plays, you have to take that into account when you're giving out these awards. You know what I mean? We're not talking about Haaland here. It's Van der Ven. I mean, absolutely amazing. I mean, and I think it was, from that moment on, it was just all guns blazing. And it's just, I mean, I know we've been here so many times, but what a difference a few days can make. It's mad. And, I won't have, it's only Copenhagen, because there was a lot of pressure on Tottenham tonight. We're down to 10 men, and it's just bonkers. You have to just enjoy that. But brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I know for one, like all the other Spurs fans and that, we're going to be watching that again tonight before we all go sleep. And tomorrow morning, they're going to be talking about it on Sky Sports. They're going to be talking about it on Talk Sport. No doubt Chris will be on both, and we'll all be listening. Then Tottenham Hotspur are going to put music along with it, probably a bit of Titanic and everything else. We all know it's coming. Then the sub one's going to be underneath, and all the, the comparisons. But that is winning goal of the season, and I love it. And like we said all week, the only players that were really getting you off your feet was Kudos and Van der Ven. But tonight, mate, I think Van der Ven takes that honour. So,
absolutely. Well, here's a stat, Rick. I know you're itching to talk about this goal, but here's a stat for you. Spurs' last 22 European games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium: 17 wins, 12 clean sheets, 0 losses, and a plus 47 goal difference. The disparity to the league form is unbelievable, Rick, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, but we've been so many roller coasters with Tottenham Hotspur that it's just one of those, mate. It's just one of those. That's why there's so many times where it is so unlikely for us to get a result or to get a performance, and we do end up turning up, And tonight, I think, was a pivotal point. I think tonight was a pivotal point for Thomas. I think for that team, for the new players in there, for those to grab it by the scruff of the neck and grab the shirt as well, and kind of seal the deal and put your name on the team sheet when it first comes out. There was a lot of that tonight. I thought it was really, really good. But like Van der Ven is just a phenomenal all-round player, and I know a lot of people straight away, because it's Tottenham, a lot of people will be like, right, well, he's got.
That's James Madison on Instagram, by the way.
Oh my goodness! I want to see what Sonny says. I want to see what Sonny says when he sees it, mate.
I'll try and find it.
But it people will start to talk about him leaving Tottenham or whatever the case may be. Well, people said the same about Romero and we kept him. And them two are building up a phenomenal partnership right now. I think they love playing with each other. And I think if we continue to go from strength to strength, like tonight, if we do the things that we all hope as Tottenham fans, which is they build on this and they continue this. This is why, like the boys were saying earlier, if he goes back to Paulinho and Bentancur, then like Gareth was saying it earlier there, then it's going to put almost like straight away a bit of doubt or a bit of a dampener in your soul before the game started. No, go out there, build on this now. Go and show us what you got. You've shown us tonight. You've shown us a response, but now it's to show us that in a big game where, in the Premier League, you've lost it. You've lost your previous game. It's now time to show us what you showed us tonight against an in-form Man United. So when we beat them, let's not talk about, it's only Man United, because it's an in-form Man United. And to their credit, they've got new players themselves. Cunha and Mbeumo, it's taken time for them to find their feet. But it does with every single player that goes to Man United. They're in a purple patch of form. All right, cool. Well, let's go and stop it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the energy? I need to see that same energy tonight.
Ricky, can I ask you, does Van der Ven deserve the EastEnders drums for that goal?
Oh yeah, mate. He deserves.
He does.
He deserves. He deserves Bassanova, mate. At the end of the bloody season, mate.
That is an EastEnders one. We'll have to get Craig to clip it.
Do you think there's a case if Udogie was to get injured again, and we know he gets quite injury prone? There is a case for playing Danzo and Romero at centre back and playing Van der Ven left back, because he gives you that left-footed balance. He can get forward more. He has a goal threat.
He's played there.
And he's played there before. Well. He's quite good at whopping crosses on, because you think about that the Johnson goal against at Old Trafford, he put it literally on his foot. So is there a case of, I do like it when Udogie's fit and Romero and Van der Ven, but if it meant playing Spence in that role again, where we know Spence is a good defender, but it kills us going forward because he's so right-footed. He can't get down the outside. He goes backwards quite a lot because he's not comfortable with his left foot. Is there a case for playing Porro, Romero, Danzo, and Van der Ven as a left back? I'd love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. He's played there before. He's admitted he used to be a striker. Yeah. So I think he's got it in the locker. Just before the other chaps come in.
Left back for his country.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He plays for Netherlands at left back. He can play there. He can play there, but I think his strength is at centre back. Gareth, sorry, go on.
Definitely. Sorry, I was just showing the table where we are on the table, because I haven't shown the table. We are currently 7th in the Champions League table on 8 points. So if we're there at the end of the group phase, brilliant. We're in the top 8. Sorry, Rick, go on. What was you saying?
No. I wanted to see that too. It's good to be so high up in the table. It was a big 3 points. We've got some big games coming up ahead. So, again, another important night to show that type of performance.
And do you know what? It's nice, Craig, you said about the stats, because obviously we keep getting told, worst home form, only 1-2 or whatever it is in X amount of time and blah, blah, blah. So it's nice to hear some positive stats with, our record at home in European football. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. Look, Ricky, let's come around to you for our fourth goal of the evening. I don't think you've had a goal to talk about yet, have you? Paulinho, 67 minutes, just rounded off the scoring, set up by Romero. I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing, that our other centre-back was up there, and I thought Romero was going to nick it. What did you make of this goal?
Again, another fantastic goal, but it was the change in pace of Odegaard that got this move going. The fact that he switched pace and then just ran into the space that was left for him by Copenhagen. he just started to confuse him. And then you could see a player. And Craig, I didn't know that it was Romero. I was trying to figure it out. In my head, I'm saying pass it, but I'm like, who is it? Who is it? Who is it?
Yeah,
like,
he's so far forward.
Yeah, and we know Romero goes up the field here and there, but I just didn't expect it to be him. So
not when we're down to 10 men.
Not when we're down to 10 men. And again, it shows you about that type of attitude, and it shows you about that mentality that we've got there. And he wanted to get involved. Romero wanted to get, after seeing Mickey do that at 3-0, he wanted to get involved. This is straight afterwards. So he gets himself up there and not only controls the ball well, has a nice couple of touches, sees the angle ain't, I don't think he's as brave enough to strike it at this particular point. Not that he's not brave enough to strike it. He is, and he can score with his feet. But he saw the right option in Paulinho running in space and gives him a perfect pass. There was questionable offside, but when you look at it, Paulinho was perfect. He was miles onside, and it was the perfectly weighted pass in from Romero to Paulinho, and he pokes it home, mate, to make it 4-0. It was a great goal. It was another team goal. And again, straight after the red card, to have that type of response, and he didn't stop there either, but to have that type of response, fantastic, mate, fantastic.
Always good to see Spurs score 4 goals, isn't it? I must admit. And if we'd got one more, it would have been our biggest victory in the Champions League ever, I believe.
Blame the Charleston for that.
Just a shame. Just a shame. Yeah. Well, there's not much left of the game now, actually, to talk about. 72nd minute, Kolo Muani and Udogie and Romero off for Richarlison, Spence and Danso. 80th minute, Odebear off for Scarlett. 83rd minute, great cross from Porro. In fact, he put 2 great crosses into Richarlison. One of them hit the bar with a header. It was a good header, actually. I thought he was a bit unlucky with that one. Second one, Gareth, coming round to you, talk about Dane Scarlett. Scarlett came in behind Richarlison, much better position for me. I think whether he was screaming at Richarlison, he got in his way, but I think if Scarlett heads that, he scores. Because Richarlison's effort went wide. What did you make of Dane Scarlett's cameo tonight? And do you think he was unlucky not to have the penalty, have the opportunity to take the penalty?
I thought Scarlett had some nice touches. I mean, the way he won the penalty was quite impressive. I haven't seen a lot of him. He scored that great goal in the Europa League, didn't he? That started off that bit of a right for the young kids against Elfsborg.
Yeah, last year. And scored, didn't it?
Yeah. Come on. You haven't seen anything really since. He doesn't really get much of an opportunity. Which, when you think about the options we have at the minute, surely it's worth exploring. Maybe giving him a run of games, but I don't know whether it was because Miani played, quite well, other than getting the goals. Richarlison just felt under real pressure because he was going for everything, and he was frustrated when he was missing. He was smashing his hand on the turf. I don't think Richarlison can have too many complaints about the header, the second one that you're referring to, because Scarlett comes in after him, doesn't he? So he doesn't really put him off. He should do better. But like you said, if Scarlett's calling for the ball, he was in a better position, wasn't he? He had the ball in. And as you say, it was one of many brilliant crosses that Porro put in. And it just goes to show you. I mean, Craig, we not that I always stick up for Richarlison. We know his limitations, but I've been criticising the lack of service that the forwards have been getting. But you can't have any arguments about the service that forwards got tonight.
Got loads tonight.
No, that's the difference.
Could
have easily had a hat-trick each. If you think about the chances that Miani had in the first half and the start of the second half, and the Richarlison penalty and the 2 headers, realistically, they should have been scoring at least 2 each out of the 3 chances that they got. And that would be the worry, that you need to be putting your chances away against better opposition, or you're going to get punished at this level. But no, Scarlett had a decent impact. I thought it was very, very good feet. Great little flick between the player's legs, wasn't it? And he got himself into a great position where he was arcing his body to bend it in, but also knowing that any kind of touch from behind, the defender was never going to get the ball. So he was going to want his team a penalty at the very least. And you can see that Danzo went straight over to him, didn't he? They put his arm in him. They say, look, it's not going to be you taking the penalty, obviously, so just get over it now. But I can understand, Craig, why Richarlison wanted to take it. You know, he hasn't scored for a while. You know, he is more likely to get minutes than Scarlett. So it seemed like a sensible decision, knowing that there was no jeopardy in the game. It was the last kick. We were 4-0 up. And Richarlison has scored penalties for us in the past as well. I think that's the first one he's missed. I know he's not taken that many, but
and I agree with this comment, Gareth, as well. You can't blame Richie, really. He's the designated penalty taker.
Yeah.
And I know we were 3-0 up or 4-0 up, but yeah.
But what an opportunity to take a penalty. There's no pressure really on the penalty for the scoreline. And I just think, you know, was the in the back of his head, and you know, look, if he puts it in the top corner, everyone says great penalty. I don't think there was a need they had it that hard. I mean, that goalkeeper looked he looked really, really amateurish, that goalkeeper. I think if it had been anywhere on target, he probably would have scored. And let's be honest, Copenhagen have basically given up at this stage. The goalkeeper just looked like he wanted to go into the change room.
But that's why we knew Richarlison would miss.
I think the only way Richarlison was going to miss it was if he missed the target, and he did when he hit the crossbar. So look, he'll point on a different night. Crossbars have cost him 2 goals, really. But I think the penalty is unforgivable, really. I mean, just roll it in the corner and get your goal, and maybe give yourself a bit of confidence. But we know Richarlison's a very emotional player, so although the team won 4-0 tonight and had a great performance, he will be absolutely raging with himself. And we know when Richarlison's in a bit of an emotional state, you don't get the best out of him because he's petulant, he's rolling around the floor. And
he's a grown-ass man, Gareth. He's a grown-ass man. He gets paid big money weekly to do a job, bruv.
But that's the worry now.
I'm over Richarlison, bruv. I'm so over him. I'm done with him.
Is, if anything was to happen to Annie and you're bringing Richarlison, it doesn't look like scoring. His confidence looks rock bottom. And that would be the worry. But look, I think it would have been brilliant for Scarlett. And you know, there was actually a few murmurs, not boos completely, but there was a few murmurs because you could hear it on the TV when it was evident that Richarlison was going to hit the penalty. And I think that in itself is a bit of a problem. That I don't think there's many Spurs fans out there, Craig, supporting Richarlison. And I always think it becomes even more difficult for a player when the fans have kind of washed their hands with you. And it kind of feels we're at that point with Richarlison that there really isn't. I don't think he can do anything now to get the fans back on side. And I think this will probably be his last season at Spurs.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's he's never really hit the heights. I've always said that Richarlison, you know, he's never got more than 13, I think, Premier League goals in a season. And I've never been convinced that he's going to get any more than 13 at Tottenham. So I think probably if we get an offer for him in January, they'll look to move him on, whether he stays. I don't know how long he's got left on his contract. You guys might know, but I think it's a couple of years.
Well, Craig, so I think Everton would be a great move back from him. The Everton fans love him. He loves the Everton fans. They aren't blessed. They aren't blessed with strikers. You know, Beto doesn't do it for them. They've lost Calvert-Lewin, obviously, who was always injured. They have a young striker there, Barry, but Everton aren't a team that scores bags of goals. I think that would be a great move in January, possibly, where maybe we get 20, 25 million, cut our losses, and move him on, and he goes somewhere where he's going to be happy. Because I think there's been rumours of Saudi before, and he doesn't really fancy that. So I think Everton, you can see the way he interacts with the Everton fans. I think that will be a great move for everybody.
Yeah. Well, just before we come on to Man U, Gary, what's your thoughts on Richarlison? Do you think best for everybody he moves on, or would you keep him around?
It's a shame. He started very promising. You know, first game of the season, like great goal. You know, but just no confidence and just doesn't. He's not comfortable on the ball, Craig. And I just always feel as soon as he's going to get the ball, that's it. He's just going over. Just always hits the floor. You know, it's frustrating. I mean, when that penalty came at the end, I kind of looked at that and I thought to myself, we're 4-0 up. You know, Dane's come on. It's his Champions League debut. I just wonder, I mean, we'll never know, but I just wonder if Son and Kane were still there. Do they go, there you go, lad, take the ball. We're 4-0 up. Get yourself on your debut, you know? Or was there a slight conversation in those few seconds? Did Dane maybe not want to take the penalty? But I wouldn't think that.
No, look, it is what it is. It's gone now, isn't it? But
you would never have got the ball off Harry Kane for a penalty, even if you're 10-0.
I just wonder in that game, though, where it's his debuts. Come on, last few minutes, he's won the penalty, because that's the pinnacle thing about that. He's won the penalty, and it's not a 1-0 game, it's not a 2-0 game. We're 4 up, could have been 5 or 6, and I just think to myself, I think probably it makes sense for Richie to take it because he's low on confidence, no goals, so I get it. But obviously, you got to put a ball in the net or at least make the keeper make a save. I think that it's just put kind of more pressure on him now, really. So I think the easy option for Richarlison in that situation was to give the ball to Dane Scarlett, because it's a win-win situation for Dane Scarlett, whether he scores it or not. For Richarlison, not so much. So that was my only thing with it. But I'm being biased because I know his old man as well. So, but,
look, we'd have loved that, though.
I like Richarlison. I do like him. And, like all of us, against Burnley, start of the season, what a goal, wow. And we were thinking there's a player in there. But unfortunately for me, he just goes missing. And he spends more time on the floor than, actually sort of creating anything with the ball. So it's a shame, but it is what it is,
It certainly is. Well, before we come on to discuss Manchester United and close the show, let's hear from our, hopefully, Puskas award-winning goal scorer, Mickey
Just
van
talk
der
us
Ven.
through that goal, because a lot of people here were reminiscent of when Sonny scored a goal like that 5 years ago against Burnley.
Yeah, I know that goal. It was a good one. Today I get the ball in the own box, and I see the gap opening every time in front of me when I start dribbling. And at one point, I think some players were around me, and I came through. And I saw the way was open to the goal. So I was like, okay, I keep dribbling now, and I need to finish this, to be honest. At the point I was taking the shot, I was like, I need to score this one. And luckily it happened.
Last season, I think, against Everton, you went on a similar run, but then you laid it off to Sonny, didn't you? This time, it's just one thing in your mind was go for goal, yeah?
Yeah, because the one against Everton with the assist, there were some defenders still in front of me, and now when I was past these defenders, the way was all the way through, all the way open, sorry. And then I was like, no, I need to go myself now.
And is it right, you played as a striker when you were a young player? Was that the old instincts kicking in tonight?
No, it was not the instincts of kicking in, but the finish was well, to be honest. I was a striker when I was younger, but at that point I was not thinking about that, to be honest.
You got 6 goals now. What's the target going for the rest of the season? 15, 20?
No, 6 goals is a lot already, to be honest. So I don't know where it's going to end, but hopefully I can score more goals this season.
And it came at a good time as well, didn't it? Because they'd just been sending off, and Spurs were, looking to need to consolidate them.
Yeah, of course. At that point, it's difficult. Of course, I think there were still 30 minutes to go when we get the man down with Brendan. So that's really tough, of course, because they're going to come, and of course we have a man down. And then at that point, when you can score the 3-0, you feel a bit of when you didn't really put the game to bed, but you made the gap bigger.
You had a great embrace with Thomas against Everton with over 2 goals. A great embrace again tonight. Is it just Sunday? Obviously, you told us you spoke to him. Just put it behind you. It was just overall just a frustrating day against Chelsea.
Yeah, against Chelsea was really frustrated. You play a derby at home against Chelsea. Well, it's a massive game for us, but also for the fans. You didn't play really well as a team. It was a bad performance from our side. We needed to bounce back in a positive way, and I think we did that tonight, and we played really well.
Are you surprised FC Copenhagen didn't bring more to the game?
I think we played really well. Copenhagen is a good team. Of course, probably for them it's also difficult to play in our stadium, and it's more difficult for them to play away from home. I think we played a good game today, and I think they didn't really create chances till with 10 men.
I think we should tie this guy down to a very long-term contract, because after that, it's that Gareth Bale moment, when he scored in the San Siro, burst on the scene, essentially. Real Madrid, they're going to be sniffing around next summer. Let's tie him down to a long contract. Chris has just messaged me. This is a bit of this is wow. I can't believe this. He said Chris met Javi Simmons tonight.
Oh wow!
Right? He met Javi Simmons, and he said he has seen the channel and said we just want everyone to support us. So Javi Simmons watches this channel.
Wow.
Good. If Javi watches this channel, how many other players watch this channel?
Do you know what I mean, Craig? That Javi Simmons met Chris Cowling.
yes, that way round. Yes, absolutely.
I think that's what you meant, didn't you?
But you know what though, if they are watching, I think it's a good indictment, really, because again on this channel, even when we critique, we try to be as balanced as we can. Do you know what I mean? Like we try and be as open as we can. Like when we was going at Xavi against Chelsea, now I think Xavi would know that he didn't have a good game against Chelsea. I think that as soon as he came on, there was nothing that he could do.
Ricky,
went well.
Ricky, just get in there. We want a private box for the North London derby.
Do you know what I mean? But it's about the response, and this is why it's great that we can see what he wanted to bring to the table. I think he was one of those players that had to grab the cojones and go, you know what? Let me just show Tottenham Hotspur what I'm about. And we got to see that tonight. That's all we wanted to see.
That's actually amazing, though, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Said that to Chris.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. And you know what? Since they are watching as well, I'm with Gaz as well in the sense that I really wanted Dane Scarlett to. Do you know what? Today felt like a Dane Scarlett day. I felt it from the morning. It did. In the sense of Harry Kane. You know when Harry Kane burst onto the scene, it was a Europa League game. The strikers wasn't striking. It felt like
that, didn't it, tonight?
It felt like that to me today, and I thought, you know what, if Dane gets on, I really hope. So when he did get on, and he showed strength, he showed good feet.
I was messaging his old man, and when he got the penalty, I thought, this is his moment.
I was with you, and I wanted him to score. I wanted him to score so badly. So I think that what that ended up doing, though, is I think that spelt the end of Richarlison, really. To me, in that sense.
I think so.
And the reason that I've got to this stage is because Richarlison has been here so long. We speak about Premier League players, buying Premiership proven, yada yada yada. He's been here for a long time. Do you know what I mean? And I'm upset with Richarlison this year because I felt that he owed us. We haven't had a fit Richarlison. Whether it's body, mind, or soul, we haven't had a fit Richarlison. And we saw that PSG game, we saw that Burnley game, we saw him play well, Man City. Well, all right, and cool. I was surprised. I'm like, okay, cool. Is this what a fit Richarlison looks like? So to fall off the cliff like he has, bro, and to talk, you know what I mean? To see this mopey head all the time, bro, and see him on the floor slapping the floor. You know what? He even when he slaps the floor, he misses the grass. I don't know what to say. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's had long enough, and we've been with him. We've supported him.
I think that ship has sailed now.
We've supported him. So after that header, after that penalty, I think, please, Thomas, as well as Kolo Muani being playing, give Dane more minutes. Maybe he's the spark that this Tottenham side needs.
Yeah.
You know, a Tottenham man, in and out, been here since 6 years old. All he's wanted to do is play for Tottenham. Maybe that's the reason he doesn't have a good loan.
You know, as fans, and when we come on the show, we want it to work for every player. Right at the beginning with Timo Werner, we all wanted it to work. We was all praying and pushing him on and stuff. But sometimes you just have to hold your hands up and say it is what it is. Unfortunately, and that time has come, I think.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on to Manchester United anyway. So next up, Manchester United, a team that we've done well against, to be fair, in recent history anyway. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 12:30 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. The early game Saturday, never good. I never liked them when we're playing early. But there you go. 33 games in the Premier League at home, 15 wins for Man United, 8 wins for Spurs, 10 draws. Top scorer in this fixture, if anyone's interested, is Wayne Rooney. The last 2 meetings at home, Spurs have won both in the Premier League and, of course, the Europa League final, even though that was neutral venue. Last game before the international break again. Can we go out with a win? Rick, last 2 questions for you. What do you want to see from Spurs? Give me a sort of predicted lineup. Who do you want to see play? And give me a score prediction as well.
Yeah, bro. I would go with a team that was closer tonight. I'd like to see your doggy start again. Romero, Van der Ven in. Vicario to continue. He's fantastic. Resurrection almost. He was doing well, but there was questions being asked, and he rose to answer those questions, and I love that about Vic. Chuck in Porro there. I would like either Paulinia or Bentancur. The thing is with Bentancur ran his socks off tonight, so I don't know how much energy is left in the tank for Man United to maybe start Paulinho and Sarr in there. We know Sarr's a box to box, and and he's got a massive engine. Again, start with Xavi in there, Kolo Muani. If Kudus is fit, chuck Kudus on there, and I would like Odegaard to start again because he done some good things tonight, and he needs to build on that too. It would be a shame for someone like Tell or whoever else is, or Johnson even, who's vying for that other winger spot, the left-hand side spot. But I felt that Odegaard done some good things, and I feel that we need to build on the good things rather than let them simmer and start again. So I would go with a very close to what we started with today, wanting to build on that. And I feel that after a performance like today, that we, unsurprisingly, no, all right, stop it. No, I feel that we're gonna win. I was gonna go on one, but I feel that we're gonna win, and I feel that we're gonna win 3-0. I don't think that I think that they'll have chances at goal, but I think that we're gonna be able to deal with them and deal with their opportunities. But I'm gonna go 3-0 and Kolo to score at least 2.
Well, I'll take that. I'll take that now. I'll bite your hand off, Rick. Gareth, same question. What sort of lineup do you want to see? Give us a score prediction.
I would go with the same team that played tonight. If Kudus isn't fit, I'd bring him on for Johnson. I would go with the same team. I think Bentancur stays in the team. I think Paulinho is a good player to bring on. It's a game at home. We want to try and win. We want to be in the front foot. If we're a couple of goals up, 60 minutes on the clock, see the game out, bring Paulinho on. Don't think the Spurs fans will have a problem with that if we're 2-0 up and they want to, and Thomas Frank wants to shut up shop a little bit. I think the fans will settle for that as long as they get, if the team's 2-0 up, had a good 60 minutes. If United starting to get back in the game, made a couple of attacking subs, don't think anyone will have an issue of bringing Sarr off and putting Paulinho in beside Bentancur, still having a bit of a threat on the counter attack. No issue with that at all. We're not saying let's just play 90 minutes of steamroll, end to end. We're not looking for that because we had on the range, and as good as it was at times, it isn't the answer. So I think it's about being, it's about playing the percentages, playing a balanced team. And I think if you can go out and get a couple of goals up, you bring on Paulinho to close the game out. So if Kudus isn't fit, I'm more than happy to go with Johnson. I know we spoke about the red card. I think the boys are right. If it had been Premier League, I don't think it would have been overturned. I think the Bentancur tackle on Saturday was probably worse.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, there is a lighter threshold in the Champions League. I mean, it was a clumsy tackle more than it was malicious or dangerous, I think, to be honest. But what I don't like in Europe, Craig, is they seem to show that freeze frame first.
Yeah, they pause it right where the contact
always looks worse. Always
you don't see where his boot bounces off where he's gone and it bounces, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Whereas they've done that in the Premier League, but then they stopped that. Remember, they showed them at full speed first before they showed them because they changed that because so many referees were making their minds up as soon as they seen the freeze frame. So I don't know if that's something UEFA might look at. But there definitely does seem to be a lot more VAR intervention in Europe than there does be in the Premier League. But I think Johnson did okay tonight, and he has a goal threat. Sometimes he doesn't get you excited, but he has a threat and he scores goals. And I mean, we're never going to forget that Johnson goal against Man United. So, but look, I'm sure Kudus was probably kept back for that game on Saturday. So I do expect him to be back in. So I'm going Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Udogie, Bentancur, Sarr, Summons, Kudus, Odegaard, and Miani. I do think, we can win this game, Craig. I don't share the same level of confidence that Ricky has, unsurprisingly. I'm going to the game, so I'm hoping to get a 1, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 Spurs 1.
Okay. I'll take either of them, to be honest with you. Finally, Gary, who do you want to see play? Give us a score prediction.
Yeah, I think just really what Gareth said. For me, the only one I'd bring in would be Kudus. But again, I don't know if he's going to be fit. He may be on the bench, so he may, come on second half or start and come off or whatever. But for me, if Kudus is fit, I would play him. He's been my player of the season, although Van de Ven is pushing quite close behind him now. So for me, I keep the same team. The momentum's there. Let's go into it. I don't think we're going to have any issues. I do think we're going to concede, though. But I do think we'll probably run out. I'm swaying. I think I'm going to go 3-1. I was going to go 2-1 like what Gareth said, but I'm going to give Gareth a third goal because I know he's coming all the way over from Ireland, and you've not been lucky with the last few trips, Gareth. So we'll give you 3 goals. And I think
I haven't seen it one. I haven't seen it once since Bilbao. I haven't seen it once since Bilbao. And I've been over. I've been there about 4
But remember
months.
what I said to you, mate. To enjoy every moment of Bilbao because it's going to be a long time coming now. Next time.
Yeah.
But no, I think we'll win 3-1, and I think it will be a strong performance. And I think we'll look good. But I do unfortunately think we will concede because unlike Copenhagen, they've got a lot of threat going forward. You know, it's going to be difficult for us. I get it, but I think at home and taking in from the Copenhagen game, I think we go out 3-1. So yeah.
Craig, since all the players are watching and Thomas Frank maybe are watching, Thomas, please go brave. Please go attacking on Saturday because my issue would be if we went with a Polini and Bentoncourt and concede the first goal, I think that will drain the crowd. I don't think the crowd will believe we can get back on it. So I would rather us go attacking, get the first goal, get a second goal, and then.
Isn't it funny how they were saying about the fans, got to get behind the team, this, that, and the other. I think at the game tonight it was like 44,000 or whatever. But how much noise was there? When the players give the fans and the crowd something to sing about and get off their seats, look at the difference. That Chelsea game, there was probably 60,000 there, dead silent, But 44,000 tonight, plenty of empty seats. You saw it on the TV, and obviously the guys that were there, Chris will tell you. But how much noise, we were hearing Champions of Europe, where all the songs are coming out, and it works both ways. You got to give the fans something to sing about. The same way I get the players want to hear stuff from the fans, but it's got to be a bit of give and take, And tonight showed that perfectly,
Yeah, it did.
Even the full stadium, and it was rocking.
Exactly. Two-way street, and it's got to be a bit of both from both sides.
Craig, even with just 40-odd thousand in there for us. Yeah, I get obviously it's a midweek game, it's late, the weather's horrible, the tickets ain't the cheapest. But even with only 40-odd thousand in there, it was brilliant. It was rocking, especially on my TV, So I can imagine the fans being there. That must be great. But we saw a good front foot attacking performance. So
absolutely, that's all we can ask for. Well, chaps, thanks so much for joining us tonight. A good one to talk about tonight, Gary. Just while you're there, where can people find you if they want to follow you?
Yeah, on Instagram, Gary Maloney 13, on Facebook, and then just do my usual thing. Dancing on stages all over the weekend. I've got no idea where I am the weekend. I think I'm in London. I think I might be away Essex somewhere, Craig. Don't think I'm doing a show at your house, but I'll check the address.
Not as far as I know. Yeah. Let me know. I'll make sure.
I
suppose people find it difficult to recognise you, Gary, with your clothes on. I suppose that's always
this is it. Yeah, this is it. But listen, look, I said to you, Craig, I've been Tenerife a few times. We're undefeated in Tenerife, and I said to him, I shouldn't have come back because as soon as I landed on the plane and checked the Newcastle score, we lost, and then I saw that Newcastle one. So it's nice to be back home and see a really positive, nice performance. And the best part is you can go on social media and it's not toxic. Because one thing I don't want this fan base to do is I don't want us to fall out of each other, not like them down the road. And it is difficult, and and everyone's got a different opinion, and not everyone's going to agree with what you think, and players and vice versa. But we all want the same thing. We all want wins. We want good results and wins and good performances, and we got one tonight. So happy days.
We certainly do. Thanks a lot, Gary. And Gareth, where can people find you?
Yeah, Craig, brilliant as always when you step on the host. Really enjoyed the chat tonight. Always good with the lads. Bit of an OG podcast, as we said before we come on. Haven't been on me, all this lads together for quite some time. So always good. And I'll be honest with you, I was worried about the podcast tonight because I was thinking it's Copenhagen at home. If we don't beat Copenhagen, this podcast is going to be...
It would have been terrible.
It's going to be like a trip to the dentist, I says. But... no, it was great. I mean, we picked a great night for it to get us all on. And Spurs won and won well, and we'll be speaking and dreaming about that Van de Ven goal for a long time. Let's just hope Van de Ven's got another one on him for Saturday because at the minute he looks our most likely rid of a goal. 6 goals this season, and you wouldn't bet against him for double digits now, would you?
No.
But if you want to follow me, you can find me at that handle underneath Gareth Hotspurs. And funny enough, these days you're more likely to meet me at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium than you are in Ireland. So I'll be there on Saturday again, supporting the team, and let's hope for 3 points and we kick on and that international break.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be lovely, wouldn't it? And Ricky, finally, thank you very much for joining us again. Where can people find you?
You guys know where you can find me on X. You can find me at Ricky J Norwood, and On Instagram, you can find me at official Ricky Norwood. If you want to see more of my ramblings with my good friend Darren Hart, then we do Tea Talk on Tottenham, and you can find us at TTT Tottenham on Twitter. And if you type it all into YouTube, you'll be able to find the episodes. We've just recorded one more, so by the end of the week, there'll be a fresh episode. But yeah, always an honor to be on with you, beautiful gentlemen, and all of you beautiful people around the world. We finish with a win. Let's build on it. Let's keep it going. Let's show them Man United lot what we're about, and that last season wasn't just a fluke. Come on, go out there, show us a performance, show us some grit, determination, and then go get those 3 points. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to turn Man U over again. The father-in-law's a Man U fan.
So, I love it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, look, everyone, thanks for joining us. If you do want to follow me, by the way, at Dearman9 on X, if you really want to follow me. I think it's Craig Dearman9 on Instagram, I think. I actually don't know.
In, Craig.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it is. Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Gary knows more about it than me. Anyway, on that note, we're going to bid you farewell, and let's hope we can turn over Manchester United in the last game before the next and final international break of the year. And the next one, I think, is in March. So we've got 4 months after this one. So we've just got this 2 weeks to get through after this Saturday. And then it's a clean run through Christmas all the way to probably around Easter time. I don't know.
Can I just say quickly, because everyone was saying,
Gary.
is that Chris Howden in the background, or is it a player? It's just actually me, really, with one of my usual cheeky smiles. So
I think you've got my haircut in there, haven't you? That's a big forehead he's got there. The boy.
Yeah, very big.
He needs a tropic turkey to get some sort of hair.
Oh dear. Well, look, thank you, Will, for saying I'm a legend. I appreciate that. That's very, very good. And Roberto said, nice one, Les, proper OG stream. What a great way to end. So we'll be back after the Manchester United game on the Saturday to hopefully talk about another Spurs win. And until then, as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come.